My grandmother left behind 6,000 sketches, and I used one of them to find out exactly where she stood 40 years ago. Okay, so here is the sketchbook. Right here is the sketch. Right there, Portage Glacier. And the weather didn't exactly cooperate. I went out anyway, and her sketchbook actually acted like a map, and I was able to find out exactly where she had stood, even though the glacier was now gone. It's so cool to find the same place, but like the subject is missing. I wonder if I go to Whittier, I'd be able to catch a glimpse of it. Maybe I'll give that a shot. In the time it took me to dry off, the sun came out and I headed through the longest tunnel in Alaska, which leads to Whittier. Only in Alaska would it be easier to build a tunnel through a mountain than go over it. Best not to think about how much rock is above me right now. And so after making it all the way under the mountain and through the tunnel, I found myself in Whittier on a pretty nice day. The glacier wasn't going to go anywhere, so I took a moment to go visit my brother and sister-in-law. I don't think I could personally live on a sailboat. I'm a little too clumsy for all of that, but they seem to be pretty happy here, even though it's a pretty cozy fit with them and their dog, Pika. So it was just a couple more quick sketches, and then it was off to go try to find and paint this glacier in what was becoming a sweltering hot day.
Well, this is wild. I'm not even gonna need a jacket. It is full-on sunny in Whittier, which is unheard of. So now all I need to do is climb from here to the top of this really giant rocky pass, and if I can make it up there, then I might be able to catch a glimpse of Portage Glacier. No, it was easier to see 50 years ago. The path takes a little bit of a detour with time. I mean, I don't mean to complain, but like, I kind of miss when glaciers would go all the way down to sea level and didn't make us hike all the way up to meet them. Especially when it's so hot. I mean, it's probably like 50 degrees, but still, that's roasting.
Seeing how much a glacier had changed in the span of a sketchbook made me see this in a whole different light. And so I began to peel my eyes, wondering if the glacier would be as magical or if it would just look like another patch of snow.
Oh, nope, there it is, there's Portage. How cool is that? Wow!
It was unmistakably Portage. So much more than a patch of snow.
Oh. So here's Portage, and so like 100 years ago, all that was covered in ice. And then when Lou was here, actually even down past that little knob was just a massive sheet of ice. It takes going to here to actually see it, but it's enormous. It's kind of wild to think something like that can ever change.
I've been told that I paint at a glacial pace, so it was worth getting cozy. But to be honest, my real issue is waiting. As an artist, sometimes I won't start because I'll convince myself that I should wait for a better time, or better equipment, or more confidence. Whatever the excuse, I'll feel like I need to wait for some future version of myself to be able to even start to capture a place like this. That feeling always is the strongest right before I make the first line of the first sketch. But luckily for me, this wasn't the first sketch, because Lou had sketched this exact glacier 40 years ago. If anything, it felt like she was waiting for me. But once the lines are down, it becomes much easier to paint in. It's almost like you're filling in your own coloring book. And this is one of my favorite parts, because you really just get to look, almost become part of the landscape, trying to soak in every color that you can see. I watched all of the blues, the dusty browns, the shadows of the crevasses, or just how blue-green this water was. But I also watched how much this glacier had changed. I mean, I often joke that I paint at a glacial pace, but it made me wonder if my sketchbook would end up outlasting this glacier by the time I was ready to pass it on. This was just one page from one of my grandmother's sketchbooks. But already that little voice in my head, the one that would so often tell me to wait, was beginning to say the opposite. It made me feel like I needed to go find those places before the world changed so much that I couldn't, if I ever wanted a chance to reconnect with my grandmother by following in her footsteps.